Types of functions and relations. So here we're going to look at 4 different types of functions and relations we can have. Our first one we're going to call one-to-one. And we can write a little diagram to help us visualize what's going on. So if we have our x values here and our y values here, say we have certain values for x and certain values for y, a one-to-one relation would be that for every one value of x, there's only one value for y. An example of this type of function would be y equals x plus 1, a straight line. And if we plotted this out, we'd end up with a straight line going through 1 on the y-axis, and for any value of x, there is only one value for y on this whole graph. So that's an example of a one-to-one relation that is actually a function, because if we draw a vertical line through any point, it only cut the function once. Our next one is going to be a one-to-many relation. So if we draw our diagram for this one, where we have values of x and values of y, a one-to-many would be that for one value of x, we could actually have many different values for y. Just draw another one. So you can see one of those values of x is going to many values for y. And an example of this would be x equals y squared, which is actually a sideways parabola, where you can see here that for one value of x, there's actually two values for y. And this is not a function, because when we draw a vertical line through this function, it cuts it more than once. So we call this a relation. Our next one is going to be a many-to-one function. So we'll draw our diagram of our points for x and y. And what's going to happen here is that many values of x can go to the same value for y. So you can see our first two values, different values of x, as in many, go to the one value for y. And an example of this is just going to be our normal parabola that we're used to, y equals x squared. Where you can see that, let's look at two different values of x here, and they both give us the same value for y. And this one is a function, because wherever we draw a vertical line through, it only cuts the graph once. So this one is a function, not a relation. Our last one is a many-to-many function. Now, diagram would look something like this for our points. We have our x and y values. But we've got many values of x going to many values for y. So here you can see our x going to multiple y values, and this one here is going to many y values as well. An example of this is going to be a circle, where we have x plus y squared equals 1. If we plot this out. Going to get a circle centered at the origin, going through 1, 1, minus 1, and minus 1. And let's have a look that for many values of x, we're getting many values for y. And another way to think about this is that if we have two or more inputs that give us two or more outputs, so two or more inputs for x giving us two or more outputs for y. So you can see this value for x gives us these two values for y, but also over here, a different value for x would give us another two values, the same two values for y. So just to recap that one, these two different values of x give us two different values for y. And this one is not a function because we draw a vertical line through it, it cuts it more than once, so this ends up being a relation.